Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lloyd Diamond, the CEO of Pixium Vision, and I guess the third time is a charm. You've all been sold now on dry AMD and the effects of the disease and the size of the market, so I'll spare you some of the details, other than to say Pixium Vision, our mission is to create a world of bionic vision for those who've lost their sight. There's been a lot of development work in the area of dry AMD, but people continue to progress to blindness. And when they do, we have a technology that will allow them to regain some vision. Again, we're a publicly traded company on Euronext in Paris, so be mindful of any forward-looking statements. Maybe a few words about Pixium Vision. If I discuss our company overview, we were created in 2011. We are a bioelectronics and brain-machine interface technology company. We do specialize in treating retinal dystrophies. Our primary target is dry AMD, but there are different types of retinal dystrophies. As you're aware, there are retinitis pigmentosa and Stargardt's and others. The current system we are developing is called the Primus Retinal Implant System. And again, the primary indication is to restore vision, central visual acuity, in patients that have lost their sight due to age-related macular degeneration, or at least the advanced form of it. We are actually entering into our final development stage. We have nearing the end now of our phase 2 trial in France. We're coming up on 36-month data. We've published our 24-month data in the Journal of Ophthalmology, which actually demonstrated successful letter reading in the central retinal area. We actually surpassed our endpoint in that study, and we currently have a feasibility study ongoing in the US as well at UPMC and Bascom Palmer in Miami. So we have actually validated the proof of concept for our technology in dry AMD. We believe the Primus System can become the first therapeutic solution for a retinal implant for vision restoration, a market which represents about $1.25 billion. As far as next development steps are concerned, we have now currently enrolling in Europe our final pivotal study. It's called the Primavera Pivotal Study. In dry AMD, we're expecting a readout in late 2022. And as I said, we have already initiated our feasibility study in the US, ongoing discussions with the FDA on the regulatory pathway. We do have an experienced management team collectively with over 100 years. I know that sounds so cliche, but specifically in medical device development, regulatory approval, clinical program management, and a specific emphasis in neuromodulation. We also have on the team a chief medical advisor who is Dr. Olmos Deku, who is actually a retinal surgeon at the University of Washington Harborview Medical Center. In addition to that, the company has really surrounded itself with key opinion leaders in the field, specifically with know-how in age-related macular degeneration and retinal degenerative diseases. The co-founder of the company is Professor José Alain Sael, who is currently the head of and chair of ophthalmology at UPMC Pittsburgh Medical Center, and also the founder of the Vision Institute in Paris. The company as well has worked very closely with Stanford University in the development of its implant technology, and we have the worldwide exclusive license for the Primus retinal implant for all geographies and all applications. So not to get into too much of the detail, but again, you've heard mention of geographic atrophy or dry AMD. I need to make it clear that Pixium's technology actually intervenes in the advanced stage of the disease. So if you see the image on the right side, that is an example of visual acuity in a patient that has the advanced form of dry AMD or geographic atrophy. So they'll lose central vision, but they do maintain some level of peripheral vision. If you look at worldwide 200 million people affected with the disease, 80% of them have the dry form, and that's our primary focus. Of course, the wet form has therapy today in the form of anti-VEGF injections, which represent roughly a $10 billion market. So our technology actually is primarily placed in the geographic atrophy area, and its primary purpose is to restore vision. The Primus system itself is comprised of really 3 interconnected technologies. One is the implant, which you see at the bottom right and in the center of the penny there, which is a 2 by 2 millimeter implant, thinner than a human hair. It's made out of a photovoltaic material. And it communicates with two externals. One are a pair of smart glasses that the patient wears, connected to a pocket processor, a pocket computing system, which is responsible for treating the images that are captured by the glasses. The visualization system occurs and process occurs in 3 steps. The first step is actually when we switch on the system, the camera actually captures images, and then those images are sent to the pocket processor where they're simplified, converted into a stimulation signal, and then sent back in the form of infrared light through the glasses to the implant, which has been already implanted in the subretinal space. The second step is transmitting that signal and then in the form of infrared light and activating key specific electrodes that are found on the implant itself. And then the implant will then convert that signal into an electrical stimulation, which is then in the third step sent to the ganglion cells, to the optic nerve, to the brain, where the patient then perceives the image. In this animation here, you'll actually see what I've just described. That represents the retinal layer where the photoreceptor cells are no longer functioning. The surgeon creates a small incision in the subretinal space. The implant is then injected in the subretinal space. Silicone oil or gas is applied, just like in retinal reattachment surgery, and then 4 weeks later, the patient comes back for switch on and image activation. There you can see capturing the image, converting it to the signal, and then it being sent to the implant. So, as I was saying, our clinical results have been quite excellent and astounding. Actually, in this particular video that I would like to show you is a perfect example of a patient who is undergoing a letter recognition and word recognition test, where actually they have to identify letters and read the letters and the word on a page. And as you can see there on the left, that is what the camera is receiving. On the right is what the implant is actually receiving, and it's what the patient sees. So this is poisson, which means fish in French. This was a French patient. You can see they're actually able to read each of the letters. And then we actually remove the glasses. We turn the system off. We put their other glasses on, their normal natural glasses. We change the word, and we ask to see if they can read those letters and the word. And in this case, the patient could see scribbles, but was incapable of identifying one letter. So that is an example of the type of results we've been getting. And actually, in our clinical feasibility studies, we've demonstrated on average up to 5 lines of improvement on an ETDRS chart, which actually can correspond to the ability to read a street sign, for instance. So thank you very much for listening to our exciting story.